Good morning, folks, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, whatever the case may be. There's my light board. I've been getting some other things done, and let's see. Today is day 13 of the Pink and Black event hosted by Mushmello from Dark and Creepy Diamond Painting and Kristen from Crafty ishKristyn. I'm not too happy with those two girls. Apparently, yesterday I got a comment on yesterday's video from Officer Putty. Now, you girls are going to have to start getting along because Officer Putty is now apparently watching others as well, keeping an eye on us and investigating us, and I just don't need that on top of everything else that's going on. Oh, you girls. I'm trying to be the voice of reason here. You girls are going to get the rest of us in so much trouble. But what can you do? So, on that note, of course, like they said, this is all in fun, all in fun. I'm trying to add my little 2 bits there. Trying to stay positive, but yes, with everything that's been going on, it's it is helping to cheer me up. Because yes, it is all in fun, and I have to admit, this is like the best event I've ever seen, and as well as participated in. Like, the two of them are making it so much fun, and other people are wanting to do events now as well. And I'm gonna pause this music just in case. I don't want to get in trouble for it playing in the background. It is YouTube music. Well, it's music on YouTube. Yeah. I should actually subscribe to this YouTube channel, because it's my kind of music. It's been playing. It's a live stream, and it's been playing for, I don't know. Started streaming on January 8th. Yeah, so anyways, alright, so I am ready for Biker Check. This is day 7 of Biker Check. Okay, so I got a square done. Well, not done, but got a square ready here. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, I'm going to move this over and give myself a little bit more of a square to do. There we go. Yeah. Slightly larger section to do. Okay. So, let's see here. Let me see. Yeah. So I slept in this morning. Yeah, I slept in. I woke up and my phone said it was like just before 11 p.m. I'm like, screw that, I'm going back to sleep. Next time I woke up, it's like, oh crap, it's like almost 4:15. I'm missing my weekday morning news. So I got up, made myself a cup of coffee, and then sat down and started playing it at 1.25 times so I can try and get caught up. And so watched that, and it just finished. Had my coffee, I had a bite to eat, Had some leftovers from last night. Just a little bit to tide me over for now. Yesterday was a productive day for me. Oh, slide. Yeah, yesterday I cleaned the... Oh my goodness. I went and I took the clean sawdust out of the litter box. And I put it back in the bucket that I use for holding the sawdust, for storing the sawdust inside. And I ended up taking that out outside and putting it with the rest of the sawdust. I just put the bucket out there. I'll deal with it later. I'll empty the bucket later, clean it out, give it a good scrub, because I can use it for other things, right? And when I eventually get another kitty cat, then I'll probably just get a different bucket, buy another bucket or something. Yeah. Anyways, took the litter box and put that in the bathtub to give it a wash. And oh my goodness, the floor underneath was gross. I'd kind of neglected it the last couple of weeks, and didn't realize that it had gotten as bad as it had. So, and then the rugs, I had some little rugs, as well as a kitty cat mat. Oh, yeah, it was it was gross. It's never been that gross in such a short, it's never been that gross. It's never been that gross. But I had to peel the mat. Oh, it was disgusting. I'm gonna stop right there. I don't want to, really gross you out. Anyways, it was gross. It was dirty. It was gross. The mats, the little rugs, I just threw them in the garbage. I said, forget it. I'm gonna just throw them in the garbage. Yeah, I got down on my hands and knees and I scrubbed that floor with bleach. Yeah, that whole area of floor. Yeah, and it's right by my door, so that whole area is all nice and clean. Clean looking, clean smelling. I've got a nice little clean carpet there. Yeah. So it looks all nice and pretty. I got the food and water dishes are clean, are washed, dried. I've got them in a bag. They're gonna, once the litter box is clean, I'm gonna put the bag of dishes, food and water dishes, into the litter box and then stick them out in storage, in the storage compartment outside. And so then they'll be out of the way. Save them for when I get another kitty cat, because I will eventually at some point get another kitty cat. I will. In the meantime, I'm working on cleaning my place, getting things moved around, organized. I've got recycling that I got to take out, put it in the van with the other recycling. Sometime this week, I think I'm gonna borrow the truck, and I think I'll do that on Wednesday, because I get paid on Wednesday. I'll see about borrowing the truck on Wednesday, and grab the tote bins from the van, and go to the post office, see how many packages I can mail away, because I've got that box for Mushy, I got a box for my friend in Colorado. I got a box to send to my daughter, and I've got 2 so far for Clint from Crafting with Love. And at some point I'm going to have to do up another box for Mushy. And of course another box for my friend, and another box for Clint. So it's like, maybe I'll just hold off on well, we'll see how much it costs for each. But there's yeah, because I do have to pay give the Humane Society some money. And I've got all the cat food set aside. And I redid my shopping list and took cat food off the shopping list. And I don't have to buy any more garbage bags for a while, because I got lots. Because yeah, I would use a garbage bag. Not like the little tiny ones that you would use like to pick up just a little bit of dog poop. No, I would use like the small garbage can, wastebasket type garbage bags. And I'd use one every day to clean out the litter box, because like when I clean the litter box every day, I would just scoop everything out, the entire litter box. I'd scoop everything out, put it into a bag, tie up the bag, and throw it in the garbage can. Into the garbage can. And every 3 days, because of the weight, every 3 days I was having to take the garbage out because of the weight of the bag. The garbage bag, like the big black garbage bag, wouldn't be full, but it would be heavy, and like I can only handle so much weight. I can only lift and carry so much with my hands. So yeah, every 3 days. So I was going through a lot of garbage bags every month with doing that. So now I'll be saving on garbage bags. I got lots of garbage bags. I got lots of those little tiny ones, and I use those in the bathroom because I have a little yogurt container in there on the counter, and I use that for my garbage, which pretty much consists of like maybe little bits of Kleenex, little bits of toilet paper, the toilet paper rolls, and ashes from incense. Is pretty much. Oh, and hair. Yeah. Clumps of hair. Yeah. So, as you can tell, I am doing better. I guess I have adjusted to him not being here. I guess I'm pretty good at being able to, I've learned over the years how to cope with changes, negative and positive changes. Yeah, I had to give Jill heck yesterday in her live stream, because I'm like, well, I did not do a serious Sunday live stream yesterday, because it is still pretty new with what happened. So next Sunday I'll most likely do a serious Sunday and maybe have a guest. We'll see. Most likely Jill will, of course, as a co-host. But anyways, So yeah, I had to give her heck because because I'm like, well, I thought I said no serious Sunday, because yeah, there were some serious topics being discussed, but it's understandable. So we found out some, like, because of the fires in California, there have been losses of life, and yeah, and then there was our friend Lorna in the UK. She's going through a lot right now. Apparently the government in the UK there, they are cutting back on funding for healthcare. Oh, what the heck. See, I don't really like using these because they open, some of them open too easily. Like this one had just popped open while it was in my hand, and I dropped a drill. Thankful. Oh, yeah, 2 drills. Little Miss Fumble Nuts here. I think that went in. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, the government's, the UK government is cutting funding to healthcare and medical stuff, and so Lorna, our Trainwreck sister Lorna, there, is losing one of her caregivers. She gets to keep the other one that does housework, but the one that helps her with personal help, with her, like, personal help. Yeah, has been fired from her job due to budget cuts, which really sucks because she is an awesome caregiver. Like, that woman, I swear, from the things that she's been doing, she's like above and beyond. I kid you not, above and beyond for that woman, for our sister Lorna, because my dad used to, like, here in Canada, when I was younger, like, they have, for a number of years, they had this, homemakers. They were individuals that would come to the house and help out with basic things. We had homemakers that came and went, and a lot, unfortunately. They would keep an eye on my mom. They would help her out if she needed help. And this was like, she was like when these were during times when she was recovering from surgery and she was not well. They would come over and they would make sure, the homemaker would come over, make sure that us kids had breakfast, were dressed, had lunches, and got off to school on time. And they would do basic housekeeping, dishes, laundry, floors, that kind of stuff. And yeah, and then they would I honestly don't know what they would do, like, during the day, any other things, like maybe help my mom with getting in and out of bed. I don't know. I really don't know, because I was at school. But then the homemaker, there'd be a homemaker there when we got home from school, and they would cook dinner and keep an eye on us kids until my dad got home from work. When after my mom passed away, we no longer had homemakers because my sister was old enough. All 3 of us were actually old enough. My brother was 7, My sister was 12. I was 9, just about to turn 10. So yeah, we were old enough to basically pretty much fend for, we pretty much could fend for ourselves. But my sister was like old enough to watch over us, and until Dad got home from work. And we were pretty good kids, aside from my sister being a bitch, and being a little overly bossy. But I would just kind of stay out of her way anyways, to avoid her wrath. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, growing up was a little hard. Was difficult, but I never really thought too much of it growing up. Basically, it was like just water off a duck's back, basically, for me anyways. Because over time I just got used to it. I just got so used to it that I ignored it a lot. Yeah, my sister was not the nicest kid. She was not the nicest person to me. I had trouble going to my dad with my problems because he had so much on his plate. Having lost my mom and working 5 days, working a full-time, physically, at times it was a physically grueling job, working for the railroad. And trying to be there for the 3 of us kids, and he tried really hard to spend an equal amount of time with each of us 3 kids. My sister didn't always make it that easy, because she liked having his full and undivided attention. But he tried. He did the best that he could with the situation. He did. While growing up, the 3 of us, we took piano lessons. My sister and I, we tried ballet. All 3 of us tried taekwondo, which is a form of martial arts for those who don't know. My brother was only in it for like 3 months. I was in it for like 6 months. My sister was in it for about a year. She was the only one in it long enough to get a belt. And that was about it. Did I say all 3 of us took piano lessons? I think so. Yeah. I did bowling. My sister and I, we both did softball. My dad did ask my brother if he wanted to play softball. My brother said no, so my dad just left it at that. Come to find out many years later that my brother, he changed his mind but didn't say anything, and he basically waited for Dad to ask him again, but Dad never did, because he would have said yes. But he's saying that it's Dad's fault, even though like he could have spoken up and said something himself, but he didn't. But yeah, my brother, he became a twat waffle later in life. Yeah, he became a twat waffle later in life, and I blame it on what he was doing and who he was dating at the time, and her mother. Ugh. Yeah, I don't haven't thought too highly of that woman in a long time. Yeah, I've mentioned in a previous video as to why there have been issues with that woman. But anyways, that's back then. So, I got lots of funny stories from my past. Not necessarily my stories, but like stories that my dad has told me from his past. My dad has done some pretty crazy, off the wall, out there stuff in his past. And, oh, look at that. Darn J was open. I guess it was just waiting for that one drill that was still in the tray. Anyways, yeah, my dad has done some pretty crazy out there stuff in his past. I mentioned in Jill's live stream yesterday that something that he used when he worked for the railroad. Okay, now I'm gonna build up the scenario here. He worked for the railroad, and there were times that he would be out with the rest, with some fellow co-workers, and they would be working on a bridge, hundreds and hundreds of meters up in the air, over like a little valley or whatever. And they had a tendency of, like, they'd be in the middle of the bridge working when there wasn't a train scheduled to come by, and they would accidentally, on purpose, drop tools over the edge. And then after a while, it's like, okay, we need to get these tools. Who's gonna volunteer? Who wants to go down and get them? And my dad would be like, I'll do it. So they had this big, giant, like, wicker basket, or I'm just saying wicker. I don't know what it was made out of, but they had this big basket tied to a rope. And so my dad would hop into this basket, and they would kind of toss it over the edge. And he'd go down. He never went into explicit detail as to how the basket with him in it went down. That's just how he described it. He'd hop into the basket and they'd toss it off the bridge with him in it. But I'm pretty sure they did it the careful way. But yeah, he'd go down in the basket, get down to the bottom. He'd hop out, grab all the tools, and then they'd hoist him back up in the basket. Yeah, he was pretty reckless in his younger years. This was back like when he was, I don't know, in his 30s. Yeah, because it had to have been after I was born. Because yeah, they moved to. My sister was about a year old when they moved to the town where he ended up working for the railroad. And he started working for the railroad around the time that I was born, about a year later. Or a year or so later. He had a job before that in that town, working for one of my uncles. And unfortunately, he was too good at his job. He was selling stuff they didn't even have in stock. They'd have like 2 washing machines on display, and my dad would sell 3. Oh, well, we've only got the 2. Well, we need a 3rd one, like, by tomorrow. Delivered to this address. Yeah, so he got fired for being too good at his job. Yeah, go figure. Back then, yeah. Anyways, well, they used to say my dad could sell a refrigerator or a freezer to an Eskimo. He was that good. I know Eskimo is not PC, but that was the description, how it was termed back then. But anyways, yeah, he was really good at talking with people. Because he's always been a really friendly, fun conversationalist. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, he was kind of crazy like that, doing ridiculous things. And I got off on a tangent and forgot what I was gonna say after that. Oh, yeah, first aid. Every few years they would have to go to Vancouver, I think it was, for a week to renew their first aid. And of course he'd come home with stories. And there was one time they're like, okay, during a first aid class, they're like, okay, we need a volunteer to to strap down onto the the board, like the medical board for like that they strap people to like strap it to the leg, one of the skis on a helicopter, that kind of stuff. And a bunch of guys piped up and said, he'll do it. He's used to it. He's used to being the victim. Pointing to my dad, because yeah. Yeah, he got to ride on the outside of a helicopter twice that I know of. Yeah, because of getting injured at work. And working for the railroad, he didn't like work on the trains themselves. Like, he worked in what's called bridge and building maintenance. That's taking care of the bridges, taking care of the train tracks. Between Golden or Banff and Kamloops in British Columbia, that whole stretch. I know that narrows down the location of where I live. But anyways, yeah. So he took care of, and he had one guy that worked with him, that he worked with. Yeah, and they took care of the tracks. And there's these little buildings periodically along the tracks that have like a furnace or something in it, for keeping that would melt the snow on the tracks and prevent the tracks from freezing in the winter, so then the trains wouldn't like jump the tracks and crash. Yeah, so they would have to, they would have to like shovel a little path to the building in order to be able to check to make sure everything is running good. And look at that. Is that you know what? Forget it. Stray drills, they go with the strays, with the runaways. Okay, so anyways, yeah, so he would do that kind of stuff. He always had hilarious stories of things that stuff that he used to do. Like I was talking about bowling, his bowling team. Yeah, there was the bowling tournaments and stuff that they used to do, that he used to participate in. He was really good at bowling, at 5-pin bowling. And for those of you who don't know, there is such a thing as 5-pin bowling. And it's just 5 pins. You got one here, one here, one here, one here, and then one in the center. So there's nothing in behind the bowling pins. And then the ball is only about like this big. So it's way smaller than the ones for 10-pin bowling. And there's no holes because it's a lot smaller, it's not as heavy, all that wonderful stuff. So all the bowling alleys around here, that's what it is 5-pin bowling. Well, my dad, he was actually on TV in bowling tournaments, 5-pin bowling tournaments. And in 1984, he was in a bowling tournament on TV, and first prize was an all expenses paid trip for 2 to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. My mom and dad had a great time there. Yep, they had a great time in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I don't remember how long it was that the trip was, but I remember that it was in 1984 only because I came across a picture of my dad holding up a poster, and it was like a long poster this way with the date and the prize saying trip for two to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 1984, and it gave the date. Oh yeah, all of that stuff. That's the only reason why I remember. I also remember from conversations, my dad was in an accident later that year at work where he got to ride on the outside of a helicopter. He was out at a location and he was watching for a train. He was waiting for a train to come, and he was up a little hill, and so he was watching down below, watching the train tracks, and off in the distance, a little bit of a distance, it was the bottom of a mountain, pretty much, and then the train tracks came around the side of the mountain, and then he was there to watch and make sure, keep an eye on the train and make sure that none of the wheels, whatever, jumped the track right there. Well, he was up the embankment, and he stepped wrong, and he slipped, and he slid down the embankment, and apparently he got knocked unconscious briefly, because when he came to, his head was on the train track, and he could feel the rumbling in the train track. He could feel the train was coming. He went to get up to move. He couldn't move. He was temporarily paralyzed, but he was able to wriggle himself off the away from the track far enough so that when the train came around the corner, he was safe. But he was stuck there because he couldn't move. I can't remember for how long, but one of his coworkers came out to check on him because he hadn't called in or anything in a while. So the guy shows up to check on him and sees him laying there and is like, oh crap, and calls it in, and next thing you know, there's a bunch of guys there, and the helicopter shows up, and they strapped him to a board, strapped it to the outside of a helicopter, and away he went. Well, it turned out that what happened was, I cannot remember which one it was, but one of the discs in his spine, it didn't break. It squished like a marshmallow. Yeah, squished like a marshmallow. So he ended up a little bit shorter. Yeah, but he ended up with a body brace, which is pretty much just like a metal frame that he had to wear, that was braced around his neck and around his hips, to keep his spine aligned and whatnot. He had to wear that for several months. Yeah. Oh my goodness, these containers, the lids just don't want to stay closed. Grr. So yeah, obviously that happened after the bowling tournament and their trip to Florida. Yeah, if I remember correctly, that was the very first time he ever got to ride on the outside of a helicopter. So yeah. And we got to hear all about it. Yeah. And my mom was still alive, and she was pretty sick at the time. Yeah. Because a few years later is when she passed away. She passed away in 1987. In September of 87. And my birthday is in October. So yeah, she passed away on September 24th. Almost exactly a month before my birthday. Because my birthday is October 23rd. And it's interesting, I have a foster sister with the same birthday as me. And we did celebrate my birthday at the foster home once. And like this foster home, they had like excuse me, around a dozen kids there at any given time, because it was on a farm, and it was a decent sized farm. They had chickens. At one point they had pigs. At one point they had baby chicks. They had a few cows, not very many, but they did have a few cows. And the older kids, the teenagers, they were responsible for taking care of the animals, and milking the cows. During the warmer months, during the summer, they actually had milking machines. But during the winter, they would have to milk the cows by hand. Us younger kids, because yeah, I was one of the younger kids, and my brother was too. My sister was kind of in between. In the beginning, she was one of the younger kids, and then she got a little bit older, and then she ended up joining the older kids downstairs. Because the older kids, there was like 3 or 4 bedrooms in the basement, and that's where the older kids, that's where their bedrooms were, was down in the basement. There was a wood stove down there that they had to maintain as well. And basically in the winter, you slept with your bedroom door open, or else your room would freeze. Yeah. Yeah. There was actually one time when my sister and I actually had to sleep downstairs for 1 or 2 nights, because they didn't have the room upstairs for us. Yeah. Or something like that. Yeah. So where am I? Trying to figure out where I'm going here. Looking for my multiplacer. So but yeah, it was a decent sized farm. They had chickens for eggs. They had cows for milk. And one of the times that we were there, they had to put one of the cows down, and so we ended up with a whole bunch of meat. That's all I'm going to say about that. It was dirty, it was smelly outside. They were pretty strict, but also understanding, and yeah, they were really good friends with my parents until my mom passed away, and then my dad pretty much stopped having anything to do with them, really, because he was too focused on taking care of us kids and working and all of that fun stuff. But we tried to keep in touch with them. Yeah. Over the years, we tried to keep in touch with them and the other kids that used to be there, and yeah. They eventually ended up having to sell the farm and move into town because, well, they were getting on in years, and they're, as far as I know, they're both still around. Yeah. But yeah, they're pretty old. They gotta be in their 80s now. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, yeah, so in the foster home, they only had like so many. Well, upstairs there were 3 bedrooms upstairs. There was the master bedroom, and there was there was the boys' room, and there was the girls' room, and then of course downstairs there was like 3 or 4 bedrooms, something like that. I don't know how the setup was downstairs, but anyways, upstairs, the girls' room My sister was in the girls' room. My brother and I, we were both in the boys' room because there weren't enough beds in the girls' room. Because in the girls' room, there was a bed and there was bunk beds. And so there was, yeah, just enough room for my sister. In the boys' room, there was a bed, the bunk beds, and a crib. I slept in the bed. My brother slept in the crib. And then had a foster brother the same age as me. He slept in the bottom bunk of the bunk bed. And he had a friend that would periodically sleep over and stay over and would sleep in the top bunk. Yeah. So, and so during the day, if there was school, then we were at school during the day. If there was no school, we were outside. If you had to go to the bathroom, well, there was an outhouse. Unless you had homework. Then if you had homework, you were sitting at the table in the kitchen doing your homework. And as soon as you were done your homework, outside you went. There was none of this slacking off and sitting in front of the TV after school or on the weekends. Yeah, there was always something to do on the farm. Basically, the younger kids, they just had to stay out of the way of the older kids because the older kids were the ones with the chores. And, yeah, the younger kids just stay out of the way. So there were 2 ponds. So like the kids we could play down by the pond, watch the fish, feed the ducks, that kind of stuff. In the winter, play in the snow. My foster brother and I, we'd always go off into the woods, and this one section of the property, there was a little dirt road that went off to into the trees a little ways, and we would always go in there, and there were some derelict vehicles, some old derelict vehicles, and we'd go in there and we'd play, and we'd pretend to get them running and pretend to be driving them, and I don't remember everything that we used to do. Snowball fights. It was, he and I, we were always on the same team. The 2 of us, like, we spent a lot of the time, it was that the 2 of us hung out together a lot. The majority of the time. Where one was, the other one was. Yeah, the 2 of us, yeah. So, but, yeah, in high school, oh God, in high school, because, like, of course, we went to different schools in elementary school, but in high school, he hung out with the people that he hung out with, for one reason or another, didn't really like me. I was not a very popular kid in high school. He wouldn't say anything bad about me, but he also wouldn't defend me if they said anything bad about me. Not that they really said anything bad about me. Not that they really had anything bad to say about me. Everybody has their own, has quirks. But anyways, like if we weren't like the, I'm trying to think of how to word it. We wouldn't stop and chat and say hi to each other in the halls in school. We'd pass each other, like if we passed each other in the hallway, we would smile, nod, and continue on our way. And that was pretty much it. And, yeah. Oh my goodness. He was always very good looking. Always very good looking. And it turns out, after he moved away, like after graduation. After high school, he got a job working as a tow truck driver. I only know that because he'd come and visit once in a while, and he'd show up in a tow truck. Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, he ended up, he got into bodybuilding, and oh my goodness, what a body. Oh yeah, what a body. Oh, to go with those looks. But anyways, there, I got that section done. Yay! Section 7 of my biker check. Hoorah, hoorah, yeehaw! I'm trying to stay positive, as you can see, and I know it's coming off a little weird. I know, my goofiness can come off as a little weird. It's just the way I am. Can't help it. Oh, excuse me. Alrighty then. So, I'm all done this section, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye!